At a certain point, the Moreno Institute in Beacon was no longer accepting patients.
It was only an institute.
What happened?
Okay. Two things. Well, as a matter of fact, yeah. Moreno was aging, and the number of patients admitted were dwindling because they had a lot of competition. People who didn't know about his extra, about his specialty. In '69, he was already 80. Well, close to 80, 79, 80 rather. So he was happy to close the institute, the hospital. Meanwhile, the training program had taken off and was growing and was a better source of income as well as our energies than these psychotic or senile patients were. Not much you could do with senile patients. Didn't even have the medication we have now. So it was, when they were gone, we closed it. Great relief. And we had been more and more importantly engaged in training people.
And you had people from...
all over the world. Yeah. All over the Western world.
And what happened?
And some people from India, in fact, and Japan.
But what happened then? When he died, you kept the training part of the institute running?
By that time, it wasn't generally known that I was the trainer. It was one of the best kept secrets in the psychology world, that I was really the trainer. He had already stopped coming to the theater. He wasn't able to anymore. And he wasn't able to climb the steps to the theater, up or down. Oh, it was very hard for him. And in fact, for years, I had to be the major trainer. He would see the students when they came in individually or as throughout the training period. He would have individual interviews with them. But I have to tell you that towards the end, I know this from my companion, Millen, he really didn't remember who the other person was, and it was a stereotypical, it was always like a repeat, word for word of what had happened when they met 3 months earlier. He didn't remember anymore. So he was out really, he was a figurehead. He was like the head of the ship, and I was the captain. You know that thing that sits in front of the ship? And I was the captain of the ship, many years before he died. Martin Haskell always used to say, it's the best kept secret is that going to the Moreno Institute really means training with Zerka.
Which year was it when he was no longer able to go to the theater?
Well, it began. He used to be able to come to New York because it was flat. The theater and the front office were flat, and he had a room there to retreat in. It was all flat. That picture that he showed was in the theater in New York, with his arms. I would say that the last 3 years, he was beginning to fade out.
And do you think that it coincides with this, with him losing electricity? Or?
Yeah. I think,
yeah.
Yeah. Sure. So it was a slow decline. General decline. I remember his daughter coming from Canada to see him about 6 months before he died, with her children and her husband, who he had not seen their children before. And I hardly think he made an impact on them. And I remember Regina saying to me, poor Daddy. So it was visible.
But losing the reasoning also, the thinking?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's the normal. It's the decline that...
For a lot of people, it's a normal thing, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well, I guess for the majority of people.
So, in this sense, you are an amazing person, huh? 93, and keeping that clarity. This is amazing. How did you react when you saw that Monica put your name on the training
Oh, it was wonderful.
center?
Yeah, it was very rewarding. You know, there are a number of them now. I have to show you the tablet that Marcia has. I have a picture of it. In her theatre, 1981. This theatre is dedicated to Zerka Moreno. When she sold the place, the institute, she kept the plaque, and it is now a tabletop in her apartment. I'll show you the pictures.
Ah, okay.
And then there were others, like the one in Istanbul. I mean, I have a number of Zerka Moreno Institute plaques, photographs. There's the one in Granada in Spain, and in Budapest, and probably some places I don't even know about. Possible.
So you feel happy about it, recognized?
I didn't even recognize for years that without me, Psychodrama would have died with him. Long before he died. I know that now. And other people agree who know that, agreed. They were the ones to tell me this place wouldn't exist without you.
So it was not only your help regarding the texts, it was particularly the training, the training of new people, helping to spread psychodrama in the world. What happened with the institute? Why you have stopped the training in Beacon?
Oh, well, that's also in my book. I got an offer to sell the place.
Ah.
And they were supposed to carry on my program, but they collapsed. You'll see the details. I was 65, and I didn't know how much longer I would be able to keep it up, but I knew I could travel, which I had begun to do, and work abroad, which was much easier than keeping an institute running. So I made my life also interesting, meeting different people, different cultures, and the freedom of not being tied to a building to begin with. Keeping up a great big building, you know what it cost to maintain such a place? So I was very relieved. It didn't end well, and you'll see that in my book, but I couldn't have predicted that. Nobody could have. But it didn't make me sad, because I was it. I was the walking Moreno Institute.
Yeah. So, and you stopped when? It was in the 80s?
82.
82.
I stopped with that place. They sold it into it. But by then my traveling and my contacts just kept expanding.
And what happened with the stage? The stage was sent to...
I saved that. And that was moved to Honolulu. And I have to tell you that I was also involved in education, because there is a Jacob Moreno school in a city not far from Cologne. And I went there and worked with the faculty, taught them, and worked with some of the girls.
Where that?
Jacob Moreno School.
Where's that?
That was in the 90s.
Where's that school?
It's called Gummersbach, it's a German name. Jacob Moreno Schule, and I'll tell you how it happened. The man who ran it had been trained by Pearls, Gestalt. But he knew Hilarion Petzold, who had been a student of Gretel's and of mine and of ours. And he said to him, I don't know what to call this school. He was rescuing a school that was teetering on its edge. And it was a school for children on the edge. And also for children from other cultures who didn't speak German. So it was a very complicated setup. And he said to Hilarion, who was one of his best friends, I don't know what to call this school. And Hilarion said, look, Fritz Perls never did anything with children, but Jacob Moreno did. Now there's not only one school, there's another school that has 11 branches. Gretel's been very much involved in it. They systematically organize the staff. I can show you pictures. So, especially in Germany, you've had great impact directly. And I've been there several times to school.
Now, Zerka, if you have to revisit, knowing that Moreno has done different versions of the stage.
Yeah.
Well, when we look at the the
Well,
Vienna model,
adapted to the space we
yeah,
had,
and then Beacon, and I know that you had some contributions about the stage, the fact that the seats were fixed, and well, if you had to revisit now, and what kind of changes you would suggest for setting a space?
I would like the lower level reinstated. The roof would have to be raised. It's very expensive. It's beautiful as it is, and I have to show you a picture. The light on it fell so that you'd think Moreno is standing there by one of the pillars. I'll show it you in the office. You can take a picture of it. I would like to give the money, if I had it, to spend on that, to raise the roof. And because Claire couldn't use that, it made the space was not available, and reinstate that lower level. But not having it there, just with the line, actually you get closer to the stage. So on some level, in some way, you're closer to the stage, which makes it more intimate.
But you would suggest going
that stage, because that represents
going up or going down?
No, I'll show you. It's the bottom level. It's the very bottom level, which extends, for me, it symbolizes itself welcoming the people, embracing the people. You can walk on it easily for warm-ups. It's the warming up level, and it's classic. I can take you inside and let you take a picture.
What would you do with the God
oh no, that
level?
would all lift up. The whole thing would lift up as is. It's fine. Lights and everything would be lifted up.
Yeah. Is there any place where it has been already implemented, this model?
No, not in its full dimensions. Some people have a small. In Italy, they have a very tiny one in Turin, one in Milano. Some people have one had in St. Louis a sunken one. That doesn't exist anymore. That hospital, I think, is gone. So many of the large mental hospitals were closed.
The St. Elizabeth Hospital in Washington.
Well, it's I don't know what happened, because that hospital was closed, and many of the buildings are used for administration, and I don't know what happened to that particular building, whether it even exists anymore. You see, these were Victorian time buildings, very expensive to heat and to maintain. So no, that's as far as I know, that's gone. Certainly the one at 101 Park Avenue was gone when we moved. Then we moved to West 78th Street. Do you have the picture of the Moreno Institute picture?
Well, I don't have the one which is in the
first psychodramatic
in the first psychodramatic family. No, I don't have it. I just scan it from the book.
Remind me, I think I have a copy.
What happened with the institute in New York?
That institute is interesting. It is a theater. It used actively for theater and for stand-up comics. Jonathan and his wife went several times. It's still being used as sometimes for plays, not spontaneous. The only improvisational stuff is the comics, stand-up comics, and it's still there.
But not with the same stage.
No, yeah, the stage is there.
The stage is there.
Yep.
Which difference it has from the beacon? Is it similar? The stage?
No, it was the space didn't allow a circle. If you'd allowed us, there wasn't enough space from that wall to this. It would have projected into the men's room, the toilet. No, it was an oval. Yeah. No, nothing compares to that beacon one. That has the soul and the heart in it.
And to finish with that,
my dream is that someone, somewhere, I have the architectural plans, because we had a patient who was an architect, and he drew the plans for us in 1942, 43. I have those. And my dream is that someone somewhere will build one like that.
Actually, if I'm not mistaken, you have passed to me the technical specification with all the measures.
Yeah.
But something that, as we are talking about the New York, I was mentioning to you.
The only thing about these architectural things is that the lights are in a different place. And so I had the lights brought down where everybody could use them themselves. That's different from the picture. But that can be adapted. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
No. Actually, I've done something very simple in Honduras. With a stage, a very simple version of the stage, with just one level, because we don't have the space. There is something.
I must correct. Kate had a beautiful one in black earth in Wisconsin, very elegant, but she didn't have the wood. She had carpet put on it, and our stairs came from outside into a little hallway and then downstairs to the stage. She had the stairs to the balcony right in the back of the stage. It was very elegant. Her husband owned it when she divorced. I don't even know if the theatre exists. I think he rents it out. You'd have to ask Kate one day if it's still there. I don't know. But that was a really beautiful, elegant one. It's the only one. She asked me for this. Would I permit it? And I said, yes, I'll give you the plans. Way back when she was married still to Bob. Very well-to-do man. He's a poet, by the way, too. Published poet. And she said that he rents out the place to people who have conferences of all kinds, because it's a complete building for that. But I don't know whether they removed the stage or not.